A freezing winter night in the far north of Canada. Snow falls silently across the endless white wilderness. Hidden deep in this frozen land was a small Inuit settlement called Anjikuni Village. A peaceful village where families lived simple lives surrounded by snow and silence. For generations, the villagers hunted animals, caught fish from the icy waters, and survived together in the harsh Arctic environment. Life was difficult there, but the community was strong. Everyone helped each other, shared food, and protected one another from the brutal winter storms. It was a quiet life, but a happy one. But one winter night, something happened that would turn this peaceful place into one of the greatest mysteries ever told. In the year 1930, a fur trapper named Joe Labelle was traveling across the frozen wilderness. Joe had visited this village many times during his hunting journeys. The villagers always welcomed him warmly, offering food, shelter, and friendly conversation. After long days in the freezing cold, their hospitality meant everything to him. But on this journey, as Joe approached the village, he immediately felt something strange. The village looked too quiet. There were no voices in the air. No children playing in the snow. No smoke rising from the chimneys of the small wooden houses. Only the sound of cold wind moving through the empty paths. Joe slowly walked between the cabins, calling out to the villagers. But no one answered. A strange feeling of fear slowly began to grow inside him. He carefully opened the door of the first house. Inside, everything looked completely normal. Clothes were neatly placed inside the room. Tools were lying exactly where they should be. And on the wooden table, a meal had been left unfinished. It looked like someone had been eating, and suddenly stood up and walked away. Joe felt confused. He quickly moved to another house. Then another. But every home looked exactly the same. Food was still inside. Personal belongings were untouched. Nothing had been stolen. Yet not a single person was anywhere in the village. The entire community had disappeared. Joe rushed outside and began searching the area around the village. That is when he made an even more disturbing discovery. Near the edge of the village, several sled dogs were tied to wooden posts. But the dogs were dead. They had starved to death, still chained where they were left. Anyone living in the Arctic knew sled dogs were essential for survival. No villager would ever abandon them like this. This meant something had forced the villagers to leave suddenly. Joe then carefully looked at the snow around the village. He expected to see footprints leading away from the homes. But there were none. The snow was completely untouched. No tracks. No trails. No evidence that dozens of people had walked away from the village. It was as if the villagers had vanished into thin air. Terrified by what he had discovered, Joe quickly traveled to report the incident. Soon officers from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived to investigate the strange disappearance. They carefully searched every cabin in the village. They checked the frozen lake nearby. They explored the surrounding forests and hills. But they found absolutely nothing. No bodies. No signs of struggle. No clues explaining what had happened. The entire population of Anjikuni Village had disappeared without leaving a single trace. As news of the mysterious event spread, many strange theories began to appear. Some people believed the villagers had been attacked by unknown enemies. Others believed they had suddenly fled because of some unseen danger. But many believed something far stranger had occurred. Some whispered about supernatural forces. Others believed aliens might have taken the villagers away. Because the strangest details still had no explanation. If the villagers had left, why were there no footprints in the snow? Because one question still refuses to disappear: if the villagers truly left, Then where did they go, and how could an entire community vanish overnight without leaving a single trace? Even today, somewhere in the silent frozen wilderness of northern Canada, the cold wind still moves across the empty land where that village once stood, and the mystery of the vanished village remains unsolved.